I would like to make a motion if I could.
You can make a motion anytime you want, sir.
Actually, I have two motions, because they kind of go hand in glove. And we can discuss this. The first motion is that the present construction/term loan for the clubhouse be secured by encumbering association common areas or facilities, thereby requiring approval of the membership in accordance with the LHCC Articles of Incorporation. That's the first one. So I'm saying take it to the membership. The second one, yeah, the second one is that the present construction term loan for the clubhouse be refinanced during early 2009 and so budgeted using LHCC Inc. owned lots to secure the loan should the membership not authorize use of the common areas and facilities for this purpose. So I've got two motions I'd like to put on the floor.
I think Joanne is next.
I mean, basically, if you want to look at fiduciary responsibility or integrity, the board made a mistake and violated its fiduciary responsibility when it made the mortgage. Somebody could come with a lawsuit against the board for that action. I'm not sure that a continuation, once the mistake is made, the fact that you don't go back and fix it by refinancing gets you out of the initial problem that we did something that we violated our rules. I'm like Dave's first motion because I really think that this is an issue that should be taken before the community. I think we should fess up and say what happened, you know, that we made a mistake and that we think it's appropriate to fix it and see whether they agree.
Okay.
I would agree with the first part. I don't agree that it's appropriate to fix it. As I said in my paper, you cannot, and I agreed with what you cannot unring the bell. The damage was done. The error was made when we signed that initial loan. It's like going down and robbing Wachovia and then taking the loot home with us, and then somebody finds out and they say, oh, I'm going to bring it back, and that'll wipe the slate clean. You cannot. That's a done deal. It's in there. You cannot rewrite history. The damage was done. There is nothing in our documents. It is not a breach of integrity to not go back and try to fix history. It's not a lack of integrity to not go back and fix a mistake that was made. I just can't see it that way. It is not a breach of integrity to not go back and redo something that was done in error. Steve?
I'd like to ask Dave, what is your purpose, real purpose, of putting it in? Nobody expects to get a 67% vote on anything. We can't find most of people. So what's the real purpose of doing that?
Well, I'm not so sure we can't get 67%. If we word this correctly, and the membership looks at it and says, you know, would you rather have your clubhouse encumbered by the land that it sits on, or would you rather spend an extra $20,000?
I don't argue with that.
You know,
I mean, we've got the same problem that we had with the bylaws. When you say 67%, you're talking about all owners. And we don't know where a third of them are. That's why we can't get the bylaws.
Well, I've looked at this pretty hard, and I really think it's doable. I shared some of that with Pat. I wouldn't have proposed it if I didn't think it was doable.
So you
But let me say this also, and I should have said this earlier. I sent out an email with a lot of math. I'm not sure everybody read it, but when I used 640K and I compared the proposed loan to the one we have right now, we would actually save $38,000 in interest in 5 years. So you subtract the $18K for closing costs, we still save $20,000 by taking what's being proposed. I mean, that's significant, right? And here's what's even more significant about this refinancing. At the end of 5 years, we would only have $370K left to refinance for another 5 years, or another 10 years, as compared to almost $500K. So you're paying off all that principal. You're paying $1,400 more a month, but doing that, you're paying $1,800 off principal. So to me, it makes total business sense from a business point of view to pay a little bit more to save a whole bunch 5 years down the road. But that's beside the point. I still want to take it to the membership.
See, I don't disagree with the math. As far as, I disagree with Pat. Financially, I think this is a good thing to do. Okay, for all the reasons you cited.
Okay.
No offense, Jim. I have a hard time understanding, and I don't get as hung up on this mistake that some people seem to get hung up on. I mean, as long as nobody knew we were making a mistake when we did it, it's done. Okay? So I don't consider correcting it or not correcting it an issue. The issue is, do we want the lien against, Markovia has given us a choice here. Do we want the lien going forward against undeveloped lots, or do we want it against this building? God bless them. You know, they're gonna let us put it against undeveloped lots. If by chance that corrects something that was done in the past, then God's looking down on us, isn't he? So I don't understand why you wanna put it up for a 67%, but I guess that's what I keep getting back to.
Because I think it's so significant, whether it's 90 lots or whether it's clubhouse property. I just think it's the right thing to do.
What if it fails?
I think it's the right legal approach and the smart approach too.
What if it fails? Are we still gonna do it anyway?
If it fails, then the second motion would take effect.
Okay, Ken, you have something?
Well, first of all, I have a 30-year mortgage because I can't afford the payments on a 15-year mortgage. Secondly, if we go into the refinance as specified, we're tied to Wachovia as our banking partner for at least 5 years, whether we like them or not. And, you know, I don't need to tell anybody what you read in the Wall Street Journal about different banks and where they're going these days. So I'm not sure that I'm in favor of any commitment, 5-year commitment to any banking institution.
One further comment is if we were not to do this now, in other words, we stay the course that we're at now, take it to membership or don't, as John went out, and wanted to go back to Wachovia, let's say, the beginning of 2009, the other thing none of us are sure of is what the deal would be in there. I'm sure they're not going to sign this and read this same rates and everything else available for the next 6 months, right? So that's another risk.
That's a risk.
In fact, they held the 6.27 rate, which is less than what you're currently paying. Yes, they held that for us because they've already entered into negotiations earlier this year. So that will change accordingly.
Joanne?
I read Dave's paper, and I agree with his analysis of the fact that we do save interest over the life of the loan, and we have a lower balance to refinance. I guess the reason that I also agree with his, I still have a concern about adding to our current expenditures. That's why I think it's a good idea to go to the community. Frankly, I think we're going to get less our hands slapped for having mortgaged the clubhouse as collateral than we are for having mortgaged the clubhouse to finish the clubhouse. I think that a lot of people in the community might have said, might have known, had it involved a mortgage, that they might have said, don't proceed with the project at all. You know, I think that, but I think that's a venting that we need to have with the community. And I see that as our responsibility as a board.